In this video, you're going to learn 3 ways to connect with your congregation in worship. My name is Jake Goslin from churchfront.com. This is the channel that helps church leaders grow themselves and grow their church. Never miss out on our latest content by hitting the subscribe button. And if you find this resource helpful for your ministry, hit that like button as well. Congregational engagement and participation are a high priority in my worship ministry. The quality of music and production also matter a lot to me. But if the congregation's mouths are not singing and they are just staring at the band, then I am not succeeding as a worship leader. I have always tried to arrange songs so that they are singable, and that has been a really effective way to help them engage in worship. Recently, though, I have discovered the power of making a relational connection with my church during the worship service. By regularly implementing simple practices into my worship leading, I have seen people's willingness to participate in worship increase, and I have received a lot of positive feedback regarding their ability to engage. I know a lot of worship leaders struggle with connecting with their congregation, so here are 3 simple practices you can implement in your worship leading context to develop a deeper connection with your church community. First, make sure you are regularly introducing yourself at the beginning of worship and share something about yourself. Relationship is critical to all forms of leadership, and I think many worship leaders forget to apply that to their role. Think about it. You are trying to lead people to sing and engage in a spiritual experience. That is a lot to ask of complete strangers. Singing is a physically demanding activity, and spirituality is deeply personal. As a worship leader, you must gain the congregation's trust. The most basic way to do this is to get to know them and allow them to get to know you. You cannot expect to lead people to raise their hands in worship, which is a very vulnerable posture, if they have no basis to trust or follow your requests. When I first met my wife and I was interested in pursuing her, did I immediately go up to her and ask, "Will you marry me and spend the rest of your life with me?" Of course not. It took 3 years of us getting to know each other before she was able to commit to being with me for life. That is an extreme example of the work and intentionality it takes to develop a relationship and trust, but the same underlying principles apply to worship leading. Your congregation wants to know you before they follow you. Do not expect them to sing, raise their hands, or engage in worship if they have zero personal connection with you. Try to dedicate a little bit of time every service to allow the congregation to have a glimpse of who you are. You do not need to be everyone's best friend or share your deepest sins. I'm talking about making sure they know a little bit about your passions and your family. Here's an example of what I said at the beginning of a worship service that was my first Sunday leading as an interim worship leader. Good morning, Deer Creek Church. My name is Jake, and I'm excited to worship with you this morning. I've been friends with your staff for a while now, and I love how vibrant and life-giving your church is. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm married to my wife, Kaylee, and we don't have any kids, but we have 4 chickens. After everyone had left, I invited them to join me in the call to worship, and we began the worship set. It took less than 20 seconds, but it helped them connect with me, and I gained at least a little bit of trust. Each week, I try to say or do something in the service so that they can know and trust me more. The second tip I have for connecting with your congregation is to use humor when appropriate. There's a reason why the personalities with the biggest following in our culture are comedians. I love watching the late night show with Stephen Colbert and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I disagree with a lot of their worldview, but they can gain my attention because they are funny. Humor is the most powerful tool for removing barriers between personal connection. Embrace the moments when you have an opportunity to be funny. Do not go overboard and try to be a stand-up comedian. Here's an example of something I've said to be humorous. Good morning, Deer Creek Church. My name is Jake, and I'm the choir director. By nature of you being in this room at 9 o'clock or 11 a.m., you just joined the choir. Everyone laughed because this church does not have a choir. I said it to be funny and to make a point that they were expected to sing. The final tip I have for connecting with your congregation is to regularly explain the meaning and purpose of the various activities of worship. People will follow you when they are compelled by the why. Never assume that your congregation is full of worship theologians. They have no clue why you picked the songs you did or why they are reading an old school prayer. If you just take a few moments to explain and guide your congregation through the worship experience, they will connect. Guiding the congregation through through worship is something I'm passionate about because I love thinking critically about theology and liturgy, and every time I share explanatory thoughts in worship, I have congregants tell me how helpful it is for them. Instructing them in this way is what it means to be a worship pastor. Help your congregation connect the dots between Sunday morning and their everyday lives. Here's an example of what I said to explain a portion of worship. Before singing the song, This I Believe by Hillsong Worship, I tell them, we're going to sing a song based on the ancient text called the Apostles' Creed. Christians have been proclaiming these words for centuries to affirm their faith, and we are going to join them by singing this song. Or before we pray a prayer of confession, I would say something like, at this time, I want to invite you to join me in this prayer of confession. It's an opportunity to come before God and say, hey God, I've fallen short in loving you and loving others in my life. I've sinned against you in so many ways. I've disrespected authority figures in my lives, mistreated my spouse, or cursed at the guy who cut me off on the highway the other day. I'm a sinner and I need your grace every single day. Then we go on to pray the prayer of confession from the Book of Common Prayer. Brief explanations like this will help connect the dots for your congregants. Look for these opportunities during the planning process. Write them out and practice saying them. Developing a meaningful relationship with your congregation takes time, but I think you'll soon see the benefits of implementing these tips. People will be more willing to follow you as a worship leader if they know you and they know the why behind worship. I hope you found this video helpful for your ministry and it gives you a few actionable tips for connecting with your congregation. Share your love and opinions in the comments below and share this with other worship leaders if you think it can help their ministry as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the Churchfront channel to continue to receive content that will help you grow yourself and grow your church.